There have been many great football rivalries over the years. Messi versus Ronaldo, Lampard versus Gerrard, Ramos versus Piqué. Yes, there are many of those between players, and hundreds more could be listed. But when it comes to rivalries between managers, the one between Pep Guardiola and Jürgen Klopp pops into the minds of the majority of fans, many of whom even consider it the greatest managerial rivalry in football history. And they might not be wrong. Guardiola and Klopp both made the battle for the Premier League title look like a movie with the typical Hollywood drama, or like a never-ending Charles Dickens novel in which every encounter between the two is a new chapter. And this novel keeps getting longer year after year after year. For many, the rivalry between Guardiola and Klopp is the epitome of something much bigger than just the game, something we can't even imagine. To be fair, any match between these teams is a feast for the eyes, even if it ends 0-0. Honestly, can you think of any rivalry that has kept viewers engaged for 90 minutes every single time? We'd be interested to read your opinions in the comment section down below. Now, before we move on with the timeline of this epic rivalry, we remind you to subscribe to our channel and ring that notification button so you don't miss any of our future videos. To truly understand the intensity of their rivalry, we've got to go back to the early 2010s, when Guardiola and Klopp first crossed paths. This happened in the German Bundesliga, with the Catalan coaching Bayern Munich since the start of the 2013-14 season. Jürgen Klopp, on the other hand, was already managing the other big Bundesliga giant, Borussia Dortmund. At that point, they each had something to be proud of when Borussia and Bayern went up against each other in Der Klassiker. Klopp was undoubtedly the more experienced of the two, and knew better the specifics of German football, having managed Borussia Dortmund for 5 years since 2008. Apart from that, he had a long period in another local team, Mainz 05, a team he coached between 2001 and 2008. Klopp's successes until Guardiola's arrival in the Bundesliga were satisfactory, but they couldn't compare to Pep's. As for domestic silverware, the successes were relatively similar between the two, but the major difference was the European and international victories for Guardiola, who had already won 2 Champions Leagues, 2 UEFA Super Cups, and 2 Club World Cups with Barcelona. Basically, after taking over Bayern Munich, the Catalan already knew the feeling of winning every possible club trophy. But what happened in Germany? Well, to put it simply, ever since then, there was a sense of their great competition and the brilliant clash of 2 completely different tactical ideologies. On Pep's side were the tiki-taka, the pressure on heavy touch when losing the ball, and overall, the control of the game. Klopp, on the other hand, relied on the exact opposite tactical features. Fast and dynamic football, relying heavily on gegenpressing, as well as quick distribution of the ball and lethal counterattacks. In the 2 seasons coaching Bayern and Borussia concurrently, between 2013 and 2015, Pep and Klopp played each other 8 times, sharing 4 wins each. Guardiola definitely came out victorious on the more important occasions, winning 3 out of 4 Bundesliga encounters, as well as both league titles and the German Cup in 2014, facing Dortmund in the final. Klopp, however, was the reason Guardiola did not win any German Super Cups in his managerial career, which, by the way, is to this day the only trophy the Catalan failed to win. Borussia Dortmund won twice against Bayern Munich in consecutive seasons, 4-2 in 2013 and 2-0 in 2014. Fast forward to the 2016-17 season, when both managers found themselves in the English Premier League, Klopp taking over Liverpool, and a couple of months later, Guardiola changing Bayern with Man City. As previously mentioned, the beginnings of a great rivalry were already being laid in Germany, but upon their move to England, no one believed that Manchester City and Liverpool would become the teams they are currently, thanks to these 2 masterminds. Now, let's focus on one of the best matches between the 2 so far. I think we can all agree that the games between Manchester City and Liverpool since 2016 are special in their own way, but we've picked out the top 5 that we think stand out above all the rest. Liverpool versus Manchester City, 4-3, January 2018. Chronologically, the game between Liverpool and Manchester City at the start of 2018 was the 4th since both Klopp and Pep had taken over the 2 clubs. It was a Premier League game, And at that point, City had moved ahead at the top of the standings with 10 points of second-placed Manchester United. Liverpool, on the other hand, were in the top 4 as well, but with very slim chances for a title. Also, even though the game was at Anfield, Man City had the psychological advantage, even more so having won 5-0 the first encounter of the season between the two teams. The first half was even, with both teams scoring once, 1-1, after goals made by Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain and Kyle Walker. However, the second half started with a huge advantage for the home side, with everything crucial happening in front of Man City's goal. Liverpool quickly scored 3 goals, one of which is still remembered by the citizens as one of the biggest mistakes made by Ederson, who tried to shoot the ball away from his goal, but after his clearance, the ball landed in Salah's feet, who lobbed the Brazilian from the halfway line. Subsequently, late goals from Bernardo Silva and Ilkay Gundogan had the chance to bring City back into the game, but it was already too late, and this stunning match ended with 4-3 in Liverpool's favor. Nevertheless, Man City managed to win the league that season with a record of 100 points, something that has never happened in history. Liverpool versus Manchester City, 5-1, on aggregate, Champions League, April 2018. The next 2 meetings between Man City and Liverpool were 3 months later in that 2017-18 season. This time, however, the stage for Klopp's and Guardiola's teams was the Champions League quarterfinal, and pre-match expectations were giving equal chances for both sides to qualify. The first leg at Anfield was completely one-sided, with goals from Mohamed Salah, Sadio Mane, and Chamberlain's long-distance rocket making City's chances for a qualification almost impossible. The game at the Etihad got off to a great start for City, with Gabriel Jesus opening the scoreline after a controversial situation between Sterling and Van Dijk down the touchline. After the goal in the second minute, City stepped up the pressure on Merseyside, but failed to score one more until the end of the half. What happened after that? Well, in this case, the principle, if you don't score, you'll get scored on, was in full effect. Salah and Firmino scored once each, and put the game to bed, knocking City out 5-1 on aggregate. Liverpool versus Manchester City, 2-2, October 2021. We wondered a lot about how to order the last 3 matches between Manchester City and Liverpool, so keep in mind that according to the views of each fan, they could be ordered differently. So yeah, these 3 are definitely the 3 best games between Jürgen Klopp's Liverpool and Pep Guardiola's Man City so far. The game between City and Liverpool from the October 2021 game is a top 3 for sure, but if we talk just in terms of halves, the second half of this game is certainly unmatched by any other since the reign of Pep and Klopp. First, Mane opened the scoring for the home side after Salah's brilliant through pass, but then Foden punished Alisson from a tight angle to level the game. A few minutes later, the Egyptian scored one of the greatest goals in Premier League history. And at what a moment! After 3 incredibly effective changes of direction against Joao Cancelo and Aymeric Laporte, Salah found himself in a tricky situation on the edge of the 6-yard box and decided to shoot. His choice turned out to be a crucial one, as his shot was unstoppable by Ederson, 2-1. With 10 minutes left on the scoreboard, Man City set up an attack down the left side. The ball came into Kevin De Bruyne's possession, whose shot rebounded off Matip and went into Alisson's net to make the scoreline 2-2. Manchester City versus Liverpool, 2-1, January 2019. And what about this game? If you look at social media, you can certainly see a lot of fans arguing about whether this or the next game on the list is the best between City and Liverpool. It was at the very start of 2019, January 3rd. Etihad Stadium. Man City had won their Centurion season the previous campaign, while Liverpool had played a Champions League final and were also aiming for another one in 2018-2019. Beneath the cold in Manchester, it was the citizens who took the lead first. A low cross from Bernardo Silva in the penalty box to Sergio Aguero. The Argentinian controlled the ball with one touch and shot at the roof of the goal, leaving no chance for Alisson. Then it was Liverpool's turn to show their class after an unbelievable attack ended by Firmino, and then finish it off with Sané's shot across the post, ending in Liverpool's net for a second time. And let's not forget John Stones' goal line clearance. Everything was perfect, right from the beginning up until the very end. Manchester City vs Liverpool 2-2, April 2022. This match is described by many as the greatest Premier League game in history. The encounter between Man City and Liverpool, in which they were probably in their absolute prime. Tactical brilliance, ridiculous physicality, and 90 minutes of absolutely high intensity. Klopp's pressing machine versus Guardiola's tiki-taka. A game filled with drama, uncertainty, sadness for the fans of the losing team, and pride for those of the winning. For some, a match that even ranks alongside the best editions of El Clásico from the times of Messi and Cristiano Ronaldo. This match was largely decisive for the ultimate Premier League winner in a season that has subsequently become one of the most dramatic. Man City drew first blood after a long-range goal by De Bruyne. Jota then managed to punish a mistake by City's defense after receiving a great cross from Trent Alexander-Arnold. All of this drama was finished off by Jesus for City and Mane for Liverpool at the end of the first and start of the second half respectively. A game that will surely stay in fans' minds for a long, long time. And with all that being said, we've come to the end of today's video. What is your favorite game between Pep Guardiola and Jürgen Klopp? Or do you probably have a moment of mutual respect between the two of them you want to share with us? Feel free to give us your thoughts in the comments section. And of course, don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more similar content coming up in the future.